What's up? What's up? What up, y'all? What up, though? Gotta come back for another little video. I gotta make sure I stay on it, cause man, I'll talk myself out of it, and I got some good stuff I'm supposed to be sharing with y'all, and that's the sad part. 1 second. Oh. Alright, my bad. Yeah, I wanted to come over here and chop it up with y'all, man, and keep that good old convo going. Alright. My companion ain't here right now, so I gotta bear with the brother. But yeah, though, I just wanted to come on here, man, and share some good old insights, some good old man, I came on here to talk. That's what I came to do. I came on here to talk. And some stuff I wanted to talk about was like, let me see. I had to write them down because I could tend to talk and be all over the place. Oh, it's a good one. I wrote down like the little topic was what we believe is what we experience. And man, you know what? I'm feeling it real quick. I'm gonna spit something for y'all real quick. It's a little beat my cousin made. And I wrote the little lyrics when I was younger. I was 24. I was 24. But like I said, I wanted to come on here and chop it up and give it some good talk. My topic was what we believe is what we experience, and I'm gonna share some information on how sometimes what we believe is all that we experience and can see. But check it out. Look, I remember being young back in the 4th grade. I was 24 thinking on how this earth changed. My being different at 13, I shifted my brain. Instead of wisdom, I chose to remember through my pain. I know I'm gifted in addition to my intuition, man. It's like I'm fishing for wishes with multidimensional range. It's crazy that you only got one life, that's the same. But consciousness proves we eternal, so light show flame. It's called perception. Who's to say it's right or wrong to call the mind God? Because without God, we can't be manifested. Your consciousness is something you can't see. Can you tell me about the voices deep inside of you and me? When it speaks, at times I feel complete when I breathe. Some days when I really listen, I get in sync with many things. Even with your eyes closed, you could still see. Some shamans across the world would say life is just but a dream. I don't know. But just a little something, you know, I don't really showcase how I can rap often, but yeah. But yeah, so back to what I was saying, the topic was we experience what we believe. In some cases, like sometimes we can tend to think like something can prove us right, but what really happens is we can only experience and see the things that we believe. And I say that because well, okay. Before I get into all trying to breaking it down, it sounded super smart and stuff. I bring this up because, like, oftentimes, like, it's a good topic to talk about because our people now, we can tend to think that, like I said, things are proving us right, and the whole time it's like, nah, like, you really create what you've been experiencing is based on what you've been believing already. So sometimes a good example would be like excuse me, the person who wants love, but they tend to say, oh, I can't find the type of person I want to be with, and that causes them to feel like they only keep coming across the same type of people, or they want to get with somebody new, or be, you know, have a different experience or with a new experience, and they tend to keep running into the same types of people, or let me use a different example, I guess. And let me see. I guess an example similar to like whatever you giving your attention to the most, you tend to, almost in the sense of how like they say like birds of a feather flock together. What you give your attention to the most is going into what you believe. So sometimes we think, oh, like I have this belief and things happen outside of me which proves me, or I'm sorry, which shows me that what I believe is true. But it's the flip side. It's like whatever you believe, that's what you see out in the world. So if you believe that this world is a messed up place, then you will start to see bad things in the world. You will start to see all the messed up things, the things that needs fixing, the errors in life. You start to see the issues with people, the flaws with people, the things that they could work on, the things of that nature. But if it was the opposite, if you believe that this world was a good place, then what would happen is that would be your experience, meaning your experience will be based on what you believe and not what I'm believing, or the experience will be based on what you believe and not the other way around. So I say all that to say this is why it's good to sometimes step back from our own way of thinking and ask ourselves, like, is who I am today, is the way I think, the things I do, is the lifestyle that I'm living really beneficial for me and what I believe? Because sometimes we may believe differently than what we are experiencing, and we also may believe differently than how we tend to live our lives. So I say that to say it's good to have that introspection to know, like, okay, what do I actually believe about the world, about myself, and my peers, my family, my friends. Those types of questions will help you gain a better, what's the word I'm looking for? Help you gain a better connection with yourself. Because essentially, like, that's the whole point of I guess that's one of the main points why I get on here and try to talk, why there's so many people waking up. Because now is the time to really align with our higher purposes, and then some, how we say, like, align with God or align with our spirit. In that process, there is what's the word I'm looking for? There is the word is like right there. It's not popping on my head. I can't think of the word, but like in the sense of living your best life, it causes you to be intentional, and these are some of the things you would have to ask yourself. So man, what you ask yourself, what do you believe, and is the things that you believe, are they things that you truly feel connected to? Was it a belief that was just passed on to you? Was it a belief is it a belief that's being created based on how your life is going, what you're giving your attention to, so on and so forth? But ultimately, like I said, the whole purpose of me coming on here was to just, have some good talk with y'all, and I guess really hope I can get some thinking outside the box going here. That topic that I shared about what we believe is what we experience, I know I can go definitely deeper, and I don't want to just make it seem like I just touched on everything, because I didn't. But this idea of what we believe is what we experience is really deep, because sometimes, like, we may not know that the things that we are experiencing could be a contradiction to what we believe. So we may not necessarily be living or getting the fullest experience that we could have because of what we believe too. Let me see. It was a period of time where like I had to change my beliefs a lot, because like you tend to realize like some of your beliefs don't suit the type of person you're trying to become. So because of that, that's where that introspection comes in, to be able to sit back and say, wow, like why do I feel this way? Do I really see myself really staying in this mindset? And actually being able to do that is what allows a person to continue to grow like they could in the best way. Because sometimes we can tend to not necessarily do good enough introspection or introspection at all to even want to see like, man, why do I think the way I do? Why am I experiencing or having experiences that I'm having, but I really feel I should be living this type of lifestyle? Or I'm feeling like I should be doing this, or my spirit telling me to do this, but this is happening. Why is this happening? And that's where that good introspection to come in, because that's when you'll be able to say like, or find out. Find out. That's when you'll be able to find out and realize like, wow, I didn't know that because of this particular thing that I went through, whether it be an experience, a perception that I've gained, something that I was able to be inspired by somebody. All of those things can cause you to have a belief system that can contradict the type of lifestyle that you live. So to my main point, the introspection will be definitely beneficial for you, because a lot of people waking up, a lot of people trying to find out, what's my purpose in life? What am I supposed to be here doing? I'm getting this feeling to go in some direction, but I don't know what direction. Like, how do I even feel comfortable changing into something that I can't perceive, knowing that I'm getting pulled in a direction that I may not be able to see, but I don't want to also hinder myself from what I could be, which is a lot of people going through. A lot of people starting to get into meditation, get into the herbs and the books and all things spiritual, which is great. It's great to see, but that's the whole point of why I'm saying like it's so important. What's up, Queen? That's why I'm saying it's so important to do that introspection, so that way you can get those insights and get those realizations. So then once you have that, you will be able to say, okay, now that I have this piece of knowledge, what am I going to do with it? Because that's the main part. A lot of times people can, I know about this, I know about that, but it's like, all right, that's not enough though. You got to do something with that. So with that being said, start to try to look back at life and ask yourself, like, what do I believe about the world? And then consider, after you had that belief, how did life go with that belief? Some people believe that there's no good men out here. And like, I'm gonna use that as an example. They can be in a whole city full of 30,000 brothers, but because they tell themselves ain't no good men, they skipping over so many men who could potentially be that good guy. Just as an example, and men do it too, but that in itself will cause that's a good example to use to say, okay, when did I start believing that? Could have been 10th grade. Let's say somebody said something to you, or you had an experience in 10th grade which caused you to have that mindset. So after that, you go out into life, and that's the only thing you can experience. Because at that point, because you told yourself like, this is what it is, your subconscious mind, which we also refer to as the feminine energy, the negative energy, the yang energy, those things, it starts to say, okay, that's all right, that's what it is. So in your brain, you start to, your neurons, they start to create pathways. So okay, this is what we believe, and the more for every day that pass, and you know something happened, and you go, see, that's why I believe that even more. That pathway gets bigger, just like a highway. So now you got neurons just going in that direction, which means that's the only thing you can see. So then you can have a back to the example, a good man walking right or actually in your face. You could be working with a good dude or all things like that. You could be in the vicinity of one, and the whole time that man will be invisible to you, or you won't even be able to see the potential of what could be. And then oftentimes that limits ourselves because excuse that limits ourselves because we tell ourselves that ain't no good women out here. On the flip side, we take that in to say, okay, if it's not no good women, why should I be a good dude? And then that stops us even more from becoming better. That stops us from being able to see like, wow, this belief is actually causing my experience and not the belief.
Our beliefs be all we attract.
Yeah, big time. I can only the amount of people I pass on a daily basis, whether it be just out and about while I'm at work, clients, whatever. People will say, oh, and I used to be one of those people like, oh man, I ain't gonna never have this experience until this particular thing, or no, I won't change my belief about a thing until a particular experience. But oftentimes, like, yo, I didn't realize by me having that belief, that's keeping me away from the things I want to experience. So you got to challenge yourself. This is why it's good to have people challenge you. This is why it's good to have good role models. Because having good role models will show you where your errors in your thinking. I don't necessarily say errors, but where improvements could be made. Because sometimes we may not know. I took on that belief because of a family member or because of an experience, a friend, whatever, and it could have stuck with us. And the whole time, we may not be knowing that this is causing us to not grow. This is causing us to be a hindrance to others. This could be causing us to push everything away in our lives. Like, it's deep.
I want to add something to that.
What's that?
The people that we look up to, having somebody to look up to in that way, they paint a picture of what it looks like, so it help our mind to know what
right. Right.
Because sometimes it's hard to create something that you never had or you never experienced. So sometimes looking at people that's living in that experience, help you visualize it better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is why they say, if you want to be wealthy, or if whatever you want, you got to put yourself around the people who got what you want.
Yeah.
Which is very good that you said that, because a lot of our people don't. What's the word? They don't fill themselves up with the things that they want, the things that they want to see, the people that they want to be like. Everybody has a particular version of themselves that we want to be, but it causes you to have a good role model to be able to bring that out. Sometimes, if you don't give yourself a role model to follow or to inspire, to be like, you just another product in your environment. And hopefully you got some people in your environment that wants to inspire you. Hopefully you have people in your environment who see and say like, oh man, I see something in you. You have potential. You're supposed to be somebody. You're supposed to be doing the thing. And they will talk to that in you and tell you like, hey man, don't be out in the street. Read some books. Do this, do that. Like, whether it be somebody else telling you or your spirit telling you, it's always good to be able to have what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a future image of how you want to see yourself. And then also, not only just that, finding people in the world who are similarly built up in ways that you want to be like.
Oh, and then you taught me that it's not always around us. We can look for it right online. If you don't have no access to it.
No, and great point she made. If you can't hear her, she said it's really good to for our generation, everybody. I mean, I say it like that. If you utilize the internet in your best way, then you can. It won't matter if they in your environment or not. You can be in an environment full of crack, as an example, but and still fill yourself up.
You can pick an environment by your algorithm.
That part. You can fill yourself up with the things that you want to be based on what you utilize for your internet. So, like an example, it was a period of time when I had to change my social media around. Mostly, I had to get off Facebook because Facebook is just, their algorithm is just different. But before I started using Instagram a lot, and I was using Facebook, I'm talking about I'm unfollowing people that was posting stuff that I was not interested in, that didn't have nothing to do with me. If we're not communicating, I had to unfollow them, unfriend them. Then I started joining groups. I started getting into like consciousness and health and spirituality and stuff. So I'm talking about I'm joining groups left and right. I joined at least about like 30 plus groups. But what that did was it tailored my Facebook to where I started to believe like, okay, the world is not messed up. The world is perfect. It's just people in the world who can choose to do bad or choose to do good. So when I started to believe that, I was like, okay, with my social media, the best thing I can do then is try to tailor it to be more positive. So once I started to believe that the world was perfect and there's good people in the world, and I started to do that on my social media, that's all I started to see. I'm talking about gangs coming together, different nations coming together. And of course, it's always going to be, a lot on both sides. But because I started to focus more on the good, I was able to start bringing out an aspect of me that I wasn't able to acknowledge because of feeling like, oh man, the world is messed up. That will stop you from being a good person.
Yep, and it'll put you around other people that believe the same thing.
That part. And, excuse me, back to the statement, birds of a feather flock together. If you get back to that point and you just around people, they like, oh man, this happened to me, people just messed up, this world messed up. That's over time going to go into your ears. See, there's no, you can't close off your ears. It just started draining you. And actually, it's just like the saying, the cup runneth over. Whatever in your cup, it'll fill up and just keep filling until all that is just out. And then you filled up with bullcrap. So back to the main point. You got to know what you believe. You have to know where you at in your belief and where you want to be. And what belief systems need to be there to get you to where you want to be. So that way, you can be more intentional with the experiences you want to have. Let me see. Once I started to tell myself, like, not just that the world is positive and stuff like that, I was really trying to be like more so honest with myself and say like, man, where do I see myself in the next 5 years? What do I see myself in the next 10 years? What are the things I would like to experience? And once I started getting into like the idea of trying to heal and stuff and finding more people who are just taking their path seriously, I started to see more men who were doing what I wanted to do in the future. So it caused me to be like, wow, okay. I'm at a crossroad. Do I start to take in what these men are giving out that I can find on the internet and become just like them? Or do I ignore that and just stay a product of my environment and just be that person that just complain, everybody in the neighborhood negative the whole time, sounding just like them,
part of it,
being just like them. And it's like, yo, every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to be just another number, just another statistic, just another voice, just another complainer. I'm not trying to be in what they say, the 85%. Nah, man, I'm not trying to do that. I'm cool. So I was like, all right, best thing I can do is stay on it. Find him, and let me see, one brother C. Freeman there. I check him out. I'm like, dang, I only had one grandpa when I was alive, and by the time I was like 12, 13, he had passed. So I didn't get that experience to be in, to have my own grandpa. So when I found this brother, he was already older, and I was like, wow. It just felt like I was watching one of my granddads. So it was just like, dang, outside of what he's saying is really hitting me in the heart. Like, I'm feeling what he's saying. I can relate. You can relate because the brother looked like me. He has experiences that even though he's in a different time and he's older, I know people who have similar experiences. I may have had similar experiences. Some things is just that relatable. So by me keeping that in my, like she said, my algorithm in my world, it caused me to basically be able to hone in on that and like expand on it. Because then it wasn't just a thing. I'm just taking in the information. It's like, okay, what would Baba do? What would the brother do? What would Jesus do? That type of thing. And it's supposed to have you take on the energy of, so that way it's like, all right, now I'm actually being intentional. Now I'm about to
make you step into your power.
Right. This is what I want. This is the thing I'm going to do. What am I going to do and put into motion with this energy so I could get a result? And what that was like, all right, brother said stop cussing. Can I be honest with myself and say, like, man, do I be cussing? Hell yeah, I be cussing. It's like, all right, you know what? I got some work to do. But I think that's what made it a thing where it was like, I found somebody like I found somebody who is displaying what I would like to see myself as. So because of that, it allowed me to really, what was I just saying?
Like look up to it in a sense. Or...
I think that's what it slipped me. It slipped me. My bad, y'all. But
you was on it though.
Yeah.
It's like it give you a different perception of what you could be and become even more of.
Right. Yeah. Which allowed me to really like look at myself. The parts of us that can tend to not want to show itself to us so we can grow. I think the uncomfortability that I was in and what I was being shown was more, what's the word I'm looking for? More impactful than the uncomfortability that I was in based on my environment. Man, it's definitely worth it though. Like I said, what you believe, once you able to realize what you believe, and then once you able to like look at that and effectively do some good introspection to say, like, do I see myself doing the same thing in the next 5 years? Like, the 5 people I'm around the most, they say that's who I am most like. Do I see myself being like these? Nah, man, I'm cool. I ain't trying to be doing this in the next 10 years. Like, not when something on the inside of me telling me, like, if you do this one thing, and you get these glimpses of how life could be, you be like, man, hold up. hold up, man. Like, I'm being told something. I'm something telling me, and that something is your intuition. It's like, man, hold on, all right now, what I'm gonna do with this? But
it feels like it'd be deadly to ignore it.
yeah, yeah,
because it's trying to take us. A lot of us are we in the gutters. Spirit trying to get us out
right.
of the hood and the hood mentality. The struggle and the what is the mentality? Survival mode.
Oh shit! Up my back. I open this door. It done got hot.
When you think about like how birds don't have to try to survive. We the only people try to survive on the planet where it's abundance and it's plenty.
Right. Which goes back to what I was saying. That's a good point. Because if we on an abundant planet that got everything we could ever ask for, why tell myself I can't do this? Why tell myself I can't have this? Why?
It was taught to our people.
Which is why I get why we say that. And sometimes it could be hard trying to get out of that. I still challenge with it, have challenges myself. But that shows that what we believe is what we experience. What was it? Started getting into the law of attraction about 2016. That's when I got like introduced, but I really started getting into it like 2017. When I first heard that, I'm like, man, stop. What they talking about? Black people don't get. Nah, man. Especially because I was one of them type of people who I gave a lot of my energy and attention to like the police killings and the police brutalities and all that. Because I thought I was going to be one of the people to try to help. Not knowing, giving my attention to that stuff was messing up my perception. So it started to have me thinking like, man, black people can't have abundance. Like, no, but then you start hearing stuff like, nah, but like back when we was, you know, back in antiquity, let's say 30,000 plus years ago, there was barely lack. There was barely.
Right. You ask the Egyptians, they was just living in royalty.
Right, and everybody on the planet look at them as the most smartest people on the planet. But it was like, all right, that's something to consider. Oh man, let me see what else. There are a lot of good ones for y'all. These are topics I wrote a while ago.
Nice.
All right, let me see if I can tie these two together. How wanting something too bad can push it away. Let me see if I can. All right. Sometimes we can want something too bad that it'll push it away. And I think that can tend to mess up our belief, which can mess up our experience, which can add to why we may believe that we can't get a thing, or why a thing may be, why we may not be worthy of a thing, or, you know, things of that nature. Sometimes we got to know, or what was this? It was this proverb I heard. They say, when you want something, how it go? When you chase, you push away.
When you chase it, that means it's running from you.
But when you pulling too much, you can't allow it to come to you.
Yep, that's where the other one come in handy. Like, stillness brings things to you.
Right. You can never catch a butterfly up until you sit still. It's not until you sit still in the middle of the field is how the butterfly will then come to you, because it's like, hey man, they're not coming after me no more. They chill. They peaceful. Then I'll come to them. Sometimes we got to know why we want something, because, and to what detail do we want it, because then we could find ourselves becoming the person that wants too much of a thing but can never get that thing.
Oh, can I add a good one? Part of the reason why some of us never get the thing is because we don't match the frequency of the thing, and we don't. Like, that's another step that I had to learn. Like, I'll be like, damn, I wrote this stuff down 100 times, but if I'm still in a frequency of like keeping myself separated from it because I'm not there yet, then that could be a thing too. Not being able to be in the frequency of it.
Has that ever allowed, okay, what am I trying to ask? Has that, with that knowledge, did that ever allow you to see how that altered your belief, which altered your experience? Because I was trying to tie those two together. Excuse me.
So you saying like by me not being in that frequency?
Yeah, because like you said, you have to match a thing.
Yeah.
To experience it. So that kind of ties into what I was saying, where it's like, where's the person's belief system at, which is causing them to have that experience.
Yeah.
Which is not the experience that they want to be having.
Yeah, because if you're not in the frequency of it, then you don't believe it because you can't see it. So it's like, that's what I noticed from that, not being able to visualize it and see it. It's like I couldn't get myself there. So then it's like, nope.
Which is why it goes back to what we were saying, where it's like, you got to know what's your belief, because it will stop you from becoming the thing that you need to be to have the experience that you want to have.
Man, and some beliefs that we have, we don't even know we have.
But that's that's why I started with saying, when it comes to, let me see, the initial thing that I had wrote down that I was talking about was, what we believe is what we experience.
Yeah.
And I started off by saying we were taught that we can have a belief in the external world can cause us to say, oh, see, now I believe more of that, when it's like, no, it's your belief that's causing you to have the experience. Now we take it, but because we don't know that, we think, oh, see, I knew I was right. No, you are a creator. You created that.
We're creating it over and over.
Yeah.
It's something, because I said that with the thought in mind, like how I was telling you, sometimes it'd be hard to like see past being in the hood because that's just what I see all the time. So it's like I'll be needing to be in different areas and look at different structures.
But what was we just saying though? Even if you're in an environment
where you can't see it, I can be looking it up, and I could. That is the damn truth.
Yeah, because
and still see that it's possible.
Right. And like I said, I had a lot of friends who I was around who they would tell y'all, man, this world messed up. This messed up world. And I'm sitting here like, wow, like I just came across 10 things that just proved this world is amazing. Like, man, I try to think of a little example to share, but that definitely is true though. Another thing I want to add is like to being intentional. Like, it's just so important, which goes into everything we saying, because when it not being intentional can cause you to be anywhere in life, just like the movie Soul. Like, it was a one particular scene when the dude was what they call that little spot, remember where all the
memories?
No, the one scene where 22 was taking Joel to that one field. They was all on the boat, and they were saying how
the youth seminar.
Nope. Remember when they showed the one scene and they found dude? They was like, he was a hedge fund something, and they put him back in his body, and he woke up like he realized, he had a realization moment, like, yo, what am I doing? What have I been doing with my life?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
He looked like, in the movie, it was a Disney Pixar movie, but you can't tell the age, but based on the position he had, he looked like he would have been anywhere between his late 30s, early 40s. Especially the way the guy was hunched over on the computer, gotta make a sale, gotta make a, that boy was dead. But he wasn't intentional. So many people are not intentional because they wake up and go do something they love. They don't like doing it. Hate it. Can't stand. I gotta go work for somebody. I don't want to go.
And we really think we just gotta do these things, like, because it's programming.
Totally don't. But that's the whole point of being intentional, because when you become intentional, you can start to take control of this aspect of life, this aspect of life, this aspect of life. Why is this going this way? And it won't be a thing of things are just happening to me. It'll be a thing of, I see why this is playing out. This is playing out because of these things that I haven't been being intentional about. And a lot of times we just wasn't taught that. Depending on who you are in the family that you come through and who you have in your family, then you may know about being intentional. Like, I'm gonna use a good example. Like, Blue Ivy, Jay-Z, and Beyonce's daughter. She gonna know about being intentional. I guarantee she gonna know about being intentional because her mom and dad really intentional with their music, their careers, all of that stuff. But for the average person in just in the neighborhood, sometimes we don't know you have the ability to be so intentional that life will just go however you want it to go. As long as you got a good heart, of course.
Yeah.
You get some people who hear that information and think they can just do bad with it. And they end up having shortcomings.
Right. It's a whole hard experience.
Yeah. But like I said, the whole point to being intentional is so that way your life can go the way you want it to go. One good way to be intentional would be to try to practice mindfulness, try to practice some good meditation. Be intentional about the things you are going to see. Like if you wake up in a good mood, don't get on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. Don't get on none of that stuff only to find the first thing talking about something negative and watch the whole thing. Don't do that. Because now at that point, you're lost.
You're stealing the whole time.
It got you. Now you woke up and it took you right out of that positive mood and put you in a negative mood. But at the same time, it took you from being intentional to being what they call drifting. Drifting is when you just going through life, not really taking control of your life and saying, okay, this is what I want for myself. This is what I'm going to do for my life, which is going to bring results for my future self. This is what I'm going to do to make changes in my life. A lot of people waking up to it, but I think this is why it's so important for our people to double down on it in a sense, because
they went an extra mile to make sure that we didn't have this knowledge for sure.
Right. I agree with that. The fact that they used to say that, if you want to hide something from black people, keep it in the book. No, not that.
That's a good one.
The fact that they used to kill the captive ancestors, the ancestors who were captivated to wherever they went through that we call slavery, they used to get killed for reading what they say. So if that is really the case, we in a different time. We should really take advantage of that and read as much as we can. Well, not as much as we can.
But it is good.
Read, really have a good level of reading, but really build on discernment. Once you have a good level of discernment, then you can read anything you can. Just read as much as you can, because that discernment will stay there and let you know, take this and this out this book.
That's
even if you read the whole thing, like, okay, they may not be necessarily telling me to do this. Although they saying to do this, I know that may not apply to me. That's not what I'm into. I just came for this particular message. Things like that start to happen. So this is why it's important to really read too, because a lot of us are going to, if you are allowing your awakening to be based on just what somebody else said, then you're really not waking up. That'd be like you sleeping in the middle of the bed and your partner come nudge you, hey, get to your side. And you, oh, okay, just roll over to your side. That's kind of like what that is. Like,
yeah.
You're not really completely allowing yourself to be like, all right, you know what? This is what I'm going to do before sleeping. When I wake up, this is how it's going to be. And you'll be surprised how much that can really determine how a person's awakening is going to go.
Yeah, I think that all sounds like what you was just saying too, like, but reading with intent.
Reading with intent.
Yep.
And in most cases, well, like she said, reading with intent and being intentional. But I think too, like, in addition to being intentional, the main thing that's really key is really having the discernment, knowing how to discern between, you know, am I feeling this based on my past experiences, based on what I believe, based on what's going on, based on how I think, or is this, am I feeling this based on what my intuition is telling me? If it's your intuition, as long as you know how to connect with your intuition, you really good, because your intuition is going to be that, what's a good analogy I could use? That good guider.
Yeah.
That good indicator to say, hey, although you read that, you know, you can pick up a book called, let me see, what's a good book I had? The Law of Attraction and the Vortex by Abraham Hicks and stuff. You can pick that up, but then you can read something and be like, oh, you know what? This may not apply to me, but I ain't got to feel no way about it, but I can still take something from it that I can benefit from. That's what that discernment will allow you to do. Because if without it, back to the main point I said, that not having the discernment and not reading will cause you to be that one person that's always saying, oh, you know, so-and-so said, or I came across this video on the internet and they said to just do this and I'm just going to do it. And it's like, oh, okay. But did you look into why they said that? Did you
do some research?
Do some research on where they got their information from? You know, where was the source of that information? How did they come up? What experiments did they do to get that particular result? To know, okay, this is what we should be doing. Which goes back to being intentional. Which goes back to what your belief system is and what your experiences are going to be shaped, how they're going to be shaped, and what you can bring to yourself based on what you are trying to attract, not chase, and what you are trying to desire but not want. And of course, I ain't gonna make it seem like I'm just I'm not. I still got my challenges, so I'm still working on stuff too, but I can share what I'm sharing because of my experience, which will allow somebody else to be able to benefit from that too. So, yeah.
Oh, also reading helped me with my focus a lot. Being able to focus.
Definitely. Definitely.
It stopped my mind from being all over the place, for sure.
Which is true. That goes into being intentional too, because like we were saying, in the sense of drifting, oftentimes we don't realize that our mind may be, because our mind may be all over the place, we interpret that as, you know, I have to always be busy and doing stuff, or I can't relax. And a lot of people, like, I'm a massage therapist, a lot of people have a hard time relaxing.
Yeah. I was one.
And that shows me, you said you was one of them?
Yeah.
Hey, you know, actually, when I first got into meditation stuff too, I had a tough time relaxing and stuff too.
Yeah.
I had to.
Remember my massages though?
Oh yeah.
Trying to get me to relax.
Let go. Don't tense up. Stop. Put your arm down. Yeah. And that can cause a lot of people to be busy 24/7, but never be productive. I heard that from Denzel Washington. I was like, man, he's talking that. Like, all right, dang. Because I know what that feeling feels like, where it's like you got a restless mind.
Yeah.
That causes you to not be able to get no sleep. That causes you to not be able to, like she said, focus. That causes you not be able to concentrate. That causes you not be able to imagine and visualize the things you want. That causes you not to be honest with yourself. That causes you not to be able to see who and what you really are.
Mm-hmm.
That'll have you out here feeling like, oh, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. I gotta go do this. And you like, or the person next to you might be like, hey, like, how much of that really needs to, can some of that be done in a couple hours? Like, is some of that really not that important? Like, I've met people who we'll be talking about, being mindful and things of that nature. And, it's hard. We will be growing out of something. So I'm not saying this to make it seem like I'm, putting down nobody or pointing out no bad flaws, none of that. But oftentimes you would hear somebody say like, man, you would hear somebody say, hey, I want to be in a mindful state. I want to be in a meditative state. I want to be at peace with myself, but I never got time. You say, okay, tell me how your day go. Well, I got to do this for so-and-so. So-and-so want this done, so I got to do it. And it'd be a whole bunch of I have to do for others, never what I have to do for myself. And even if it is something for myself, it may not necessarily be for the better benefit of your well-being, even for the future. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes I would hear people say, oh man, I want to get into meditation so bad. I just feel it. Like some days it feels good to just go by the water and just sit. But I ain't never got time for that because I got to do this for something. It's like, yo, like you just lied to yourself. Like you ain't just lied to yourself, but it's like, do you think you don't have time because you never took the time to try to guide your thoughts in one particular direction? Or do you just feel like you never had time because how restless your mind is? Mm-hmm. That can definitely make you feel like, man, like, what's next? I don't know what to do. Something got to happen.
And it's okay to tell people no. I don't like when people have them excuses for themselves. It's like not to spend at least an hour a day on something that they want to do, or that's why we always ask each other like, what you want to do today, like, because that's so important. Like, you have a whole day and it's nothing you want to do,
right?
Like if everybody else matters more than you, like you're the battery, you gotta be charged to give to others.
You want to be able to be the person, and that's crazy because oftentimes people do that because they want a particular you that they can gain from, but because they're not seeing how they're taking advantage, you start to change, and they start to look at you like, what's your problem? You ain't yourself. Yeah, of course I'm not myself.
Haven't been myself for a while.
Yeah, and it sucks because I think because of the hands our people been dealt, it's like we automatically got through in experiences which is going to cause us to be a certain way, which is like some of those ways you said.
Yeah.
And it have us treating each other bad. It have us looking at each other bad, feeling like, oh man, F them. They always trying to take advantage. They can't see me for who I am or whatever. And it's like, we all really, really kind of want the best, or we really want to be, open-hearted and loving and doing good deeds for our people. But that stuff I have you like, man.
And how you drain.
Yeah, I'm cool. Like, hey, I'm good. I don't want to deal with none of y'all.
I feel like some of the spiritual journey got a lot to do with isolation too. Because people start to pull at you when your energy rise. They see it and they want it, and they like, help me do this, do that.
But I think that's where we have to go. That's where we have to know where to be intentional, where to have that
discernment.
Discernment.
Yeah.
Because that discernment will let us know, like, yo, even though I'm sitting here telling you, like, you see me upgrading.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you want to upgrade, but you're not. And that discernment will be telling me, like, okay, say this to them. And if they don't take action within a week, that shows me I need to change my environment and the people I'm around.
That's true.
Yeah, man. But all that to say is based on what you choose to do. You can wake up tomorrow. Let's say a person watched all this or heard everything we said, or even if they didn't and knew this, they could wake up tomorrow and say, you know what? Today, I'm going to choose to do this. I'm going to get up and I'm going to take, a good 5-10 minutes to myself and just relax. Or a person can get up and say, well, I don't even feel like doing what I got to do today. I'm about to be annoyed. Today about to go like this. And today goes like that. And be another victim of your own creation. Or kind of like taking control of what we like to say, like become the captain of our ship and take control of things you experience in the world. Man.
Sound like one way to take that control back is to take control over our wording. Like to wake up in the morning and even say, this day about to be messed up.
Right.
It's like we I think as humans, like for a long time, especially for me, I didn't realize how much I was directing stuff with my energy and my words. Like how I'm talking about a thing, or even like earlier when we were saying noticing cycles. And even speaking it out loud and stuff like that. Certain things could be broken when we stop wording it certain ways. So.
Word in a different way. Yeah. And that's a good point, because to that, I always like to bring up, or not, let me say it like this. When I think of that, I like to think about how, they say in the Bible, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. If the Word was God, then I have to put a different idea on the words we speak.
Yeah.
Which is why, what is it? What they say, like, what they say in the Bible, like, it's another scripture that mentions how, like, your tongue, life and death is both in the tongue. You can build a person up, or you can kill them dead just with your tongue. And black people sometimes is the most opinionated people. Like, you ain't even gotta give your opinion. Sometimes don't even need to be heard, don't even need to be shared. But we so quick to give it.
I think because we've been so hurt.
Yeah, we get our feelings hurt, or we
get
hurt.
Silence, man.
That too, but that still don't make it right.
Don't make it right.
To just throw daggers at people verbally, and we do that so much, and then wonder why our experience stays the way it is,
and why we attract the people that come and do the same stuff we do.
Why? Because that's our belief, and our experience is based on what we believe, because we ain't being intentional.
Yeah, right. For real.
Man.
We're real life creators, though. That's why every time we hear people say this world is crazy, we're able to look at it differently. Like, it's the worlds we create that's going to be crazy or blissful.
Man.
Deep.
Yeah, I just wanted to come on here and share some. What did I say? I just wanted to share some words and talk with y'all. We wanted to talk with y'all. She pulled up late, so yeah. Cool. And if you catch it on the late end, look out for some more. We definitely gonna come back and talk some more. Check me out at the beginning. I was spitting them graviously bars. Ain't even no word. I just wanted to be funny and make up something. But peace. We gonna see y'all again.
Peace.
And until next time. Till next time.